Hi there, welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Allie and here we go. I wanted to talk to you about some hopefuls for May. I say hopefuls because for one, I'm a mood reader and my idea of this could change soon. But also because there's no way that I'm reading all the books that I have here. Again, that's because I'm a mood reader and I like to have the choices. So I may also read stuff that's not here. We'll see. So let me just get into it. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 books. I'm a full-time worker and a full-time mom, so I'm probably not going to read 14 books this month. If I do, that would be cool. I think a couple of these I could maybe get on audiobook, which would help me read a few more. And 2 of them are graphic novels. One of them is like a weird formatting, so it could go by quicker. But we'll see whatever I end up wanting. The first one I'll talk about though is Cat Love by Thomas Q. Moring. I probably said that wrong and I'm sorry. But Cat Love is a contemporary dystopian elegy. Is that how you say that word? Narrated by a cat in a Schrodinger's box. And I am excited for that weirdness, but I want to talk about this now because it comes out in May. Maybe not. It says 6/9, June 9th. So for some reason I thought it came out in May, but I'll still talk about it. So why I thought it was coming out in May, I don't know, but this one says June 9th. Maybe it's in May overseas, and that's why I thought that. I don't know. But anyway, this is one. I'll probably get to this one. Well, for one, not all the pages are full text. And it just is so, I really have been into books that, or am at least interested in books that are from the perspective of not a human. I have a book back there that I think it's The Infinite Sadness of Small Appliances, from the mind of small appliances. Trying to think what else I have, but I know I have some on NetGalley that I was interested in. So anyways, that's one that I would like to read and probably will read. The other one is The Other Black Girl, and that is by Zakiya Delilah Harris. Again, I am sorry if I pronounce people's names incorrectly. But this is a Hulu show. I haven't seen it, but if I am digging the book, I will read it, or I will watch it. I don't have Hulu, so might have to borrow someone's. 26-year-old editorial assistant Nella Rogers is tired of being the only Black employee at Wagner Books. Fed up with the isolation and microaggressions, she's thrilled when Harlem-born and bred Hazel starts working in the cubicle beside hers. They've only just begun comparing natural hair care regimens, though, when a string of uncomfortable events elevates Hazel to office darling and Nella is left in the dust. As Nella starts to spiral and obsess over the sinister forces at play, she soon realizes there's a lot more at stake than her career. Having joined Wagner Books to honor the legacy of Burning Heart, a novel written and edited by 2 Black women, she thought this animosity was a relic of the past. Is Nella ready to take on the fight of a new generation? Sure, that sounds good. I remember seeing the trailer for the show, and that looked good too. So we will try to get to that. Like I said, it really depends on the mood I'm in when I start each book. So we'll see. Another book is Toni Morrison's Love. I've never read a Toni Morrison book. This was gifted to me by Vintage, which I will also note Cat Love was gifted to me by Pantheon Books. I want to give them credit. But Love was from Vintage. In life, Bill Cozy enjoyed the affections of many women who would do almost anything to gain his favor. In death, his hold on them may be even stronger. Wife, daughter, granddaughter, employee, mistress, all stake their furious claim on Cozy's memory and estate, using everything from intrigue to outright violence in this work that is shrewd, funny, erotic, and heartwarming. It's a symphony of passion and hatred, power and perversity, color and class that spans 3 generations of Black women in a fading beach town, all navigating love in its glorious and ruinous incarnations. So that's Love by Toni Morrison. And then I would call it a graphic novel. I don't know if that's necessarily what it's like. There's drawings and stuff in it. But it's Anxietyland by Gemma Correll. I really should have looked up everyone's names before I started this. Anxietyland. Now, what's funny about this, it was gifted from Gallery Books, and I had left work early and was having, because of a bad panic attack, and another one was coming on, and I went and got the mail, and this was in there. So I just thought that that was kind of funny. So this is, like I said, it's a collection of drawings. In 2018, Gemma Correll had a panic attack that lasted for weeks on end. Unable to do much more than walk aimlessly through the streets of Berkeley, she admitted herself to the hospital to reckon with the bad feeling that had been her companion since she was a child. With her ingenious and charming illustrations, she leads readers through the amusement park in her own mind, featuring severe anxiety, depression, agoraphobia, and dissociation, a frightening and darkly funny world that feels like a place apart from real life. A hilarious thrill ride exploring the mysteries of the mind-body connection, her graphic memoir, that's what we'll call it, graphic memoir, is shot through with the absurd knowledge that there is no linear way through Anxietyland, nor any cure-alls, but there are ways to feel better if you keep trying to move forward. So that sounds good. Hopefully it's not triggering to me at all, but I am better at knowing that, so I will stop if I have to, but hopefully it'll be more that there are things I can relate to. Another book here, we have We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kluwer. This was gifted to me from Emily Bessler Books, which is an Atria imprint. I also received The Caretaker a couple weeks ago, and though they are not a series, I have heard some reviews that people think We Used to Live Here should be read first because there's some tie-in maybe or something like that. I've also just watched a video by the Pastel Bookshelf, I think is her name, where this was one of the scariest books someone's read. So hopefully I'm not too scared, but Frida McFadden did say one of the creepiest stories I've ever read. I love a haunted house or like weird. It's not a haunted house though. I believe there's just some strangers and some weird stuff happen. I don't have The Caretaker in this pile because I want to read this first and I don't know for sure if I don't get to it this month, or if I do, if there'll be time for the other one. So for now, this is just the one in the pile. So There's Nothing Worse Than Uninvited Guests is what it says. As a young queer couple who flip houses, Charlie and Eve can't believe the killer deal they've just gotten on an old property in a picturesque neighborhood. While Eve works on the house one day, there's a knock on the door. A man stands there with his family, claiming to have lived here before and asking whether it would be all right if he showed his kids around. People pleaser to a fault, Eve lets them in. Eve? As a people pleaser, I need you to have at least that boundary. That sounds wild. As someone with OCD and anxiety on top of being a people pleaser, I would maybe be a little torn, but I think I'd be so scared of the situation and think of worst case scenarios that I would not let them in. And Eve should not have done that. But if she didn't, if she had not let them in, we wouldn't have this story. Also, this is fiction, so I'm not sure why I'm talking about it like this. Anyway, as soon as the strangers enter their home, inexplicable things start to happen. The family's youngest child goes missing, and a ghostly presence materializes in the basement. Okay, I take back, it is sort of a haunted house story. Even weirder, the family can't seem to take the hint that their visit should be over. And when Charlie suddenly vanishes, Eve slowly loses her grip on reality. Something is terribly wrong with the house and with the visiting family. Or is Eve just imagining things? Shall we see? That sounds really good to me. That one I'll probably get to, like, after. So I am about to read a book for a book tour that I am blanking on the name currently, that it's a romance, so I might be able to read that and that. We'll see. Either way, I think I might start that first in May or tonight. No, I gotta finish the other one first. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves, Allie. Okay. Anyway, So I put Nothing Tastes as Good in here. This was gifted to me. Was it gifted to me? Yeah. By Atria. Sorry. Nothing Tastes as Good by Luke Dumas. I thought it was interesting because I'm a fat girl, and this is a spine-tingling thriller about a weight loss treatment with potentially murderous side effects. So I've heard that like there's cannibalism. Yes. So I'm not going to read the whole back. Just going to wrap those in there and tell you that that sounded interesting to me, and so that is on my list. I did just read a video of someone that I have a lot of crossover with books that they like, and they were not digging this, but I'm still going to go in it with high hopes because it sounds like stuff that I would be interested in. Especially as a fat person that is taking Zipbound. So, and I like that this is a bit, wait, oh, there's blog posts. I'm a sucker for some extra formatting. That one sounds good. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not going to get to all of this. Right now, some of those are what sound really good. Some of these sound, it really just depends on my mood. I picked these out yesterday, and now I'm like, some of these I'm like, do I really want to? But I'll talk about them because they were on my mind at least yesterday. So another one is The Ravine by Maya Chance. The author actually gifted this to me. She reached out and gave me this with like a bookmark, and I want to say there was something else in there, but very appreciative of that. This is a motherhood one, and I love a motherhood thriller as a mother. Sometimes the metaphors in there, I'm like, oh my gosh, I get it. That's how I felt with Tradwife by Saratoga Schaefer. Like that one is like how much a mother like gives of herself to be a mother and like have the best for her child. Anyway, let's not get too into that right now. Motherhood takes sacrifice. Harlow has almost everything she's ever wanted: a passionate marriage, an adorable stepson, and a fresh start at her husband Gregor's boyhood home on the water. If only she could get pregnant, her happiness would be complete. But soon after they arrive on the misty tree-cloaked island, Gregor starts to change. And Harlow is shaken by his odd connection to their neighbor Kirsten, a luminous Tradwife influencer. Then, deep in a wooded ravine, Harlow finds evidence of an unspeakable murder, or thinks she does. Desperate to know what's real and what's only in her mind, she tracks down rumors of missing girls and bloody rituals and begins to suspect that her marriage, too, hides a menace she never saw coming. Each day, the feeling grows. The safest thing she can do is run. But from what? Harlow can't even begin to imagine. So I want to say when I was pitched this, it was kind of like a folk horror, cult, motherhood. There's a Tradwife in here, influencer, so a lot of things I'm interested in books right now. This is The Tradwife's Secret by Leanne Child. I was not gifted this by HQ. I think technically them, the author, but I was on like a book tour for Instagram, and I was just, it was more of a feature, but I haven't read it yet. It was more like, hey, this book's coming out when it came out. And the back says, her life is perfect, her life is a lie. A marriage is between two people and their millions of followers. So like that alone, I was like kind of interested knowing that it's a thriller. Madison March is the perfect wife with the perfect family and the perfect life. She spends her days baking sourdough and picking vegetables from the garden while watching her children play in the fields surrounding her Montana homestead. Dinner is always on the table for her husband, and they end their days sitting on the porch watching the sun go down. It's a life her 10 million followers dream of. And it's all a lie. That sounded interesting to me. Is that how I'm ending every time I have said a book? But they all sound interesting to me. I always have to put like a pause there before to me because I'm like obviously it's that way to me, but what if it's not to someone else? And that's the people pleaser in me. All right, so I stopped doing book of the month, and then they offered me a free book if I signed up again, and so I did that, and I got Mocha, which has been on my list to read for a while. I was I was given permission to review it on NetGalley, which I have not done yet, but I prefer to read hard copy books. So because I have that on NetGalley and I have this, I'll read it on here, review it on NetGalley, and get some reviews out for the books. So Mocha, it says he has a taste for voyeurism. She has a thirst for revenge. And Mocha is an abbreviation of Mulray Camera, a sneaky camera hidden to capture covert images and videos for voyeurs. So that alone was interesting to me. But it is by Monica Kim, who wrote The Eyes Are the Best Part, which was not a favorite book of mine, but the premise of this sounded interesting. So I'll give her another shot because I've only read one book. Just because it's one book doesn't mean I don't like all of her books. Lottery and Other Stories by Shirley Jackson with an introduction by A.M. Holmes. I wanted to read The Lottery. I've been wanting to read it, and it's really short, so I could have just read that, but I saw that she had other stories, and so I figured, why not do that and read additional stories? I haven't read anything by her. I have The Haunting of Hill House, but haven't read it, so this will be interesting to get a taste of her writings. But yeah, I'm interested in reading The Lottery, so that's where that one started. I did buy Libby Page's This Book Made Me Think of You, and I also bought all of these ones. So The Lottery, technically Mocha, and then this one and the next two are all ones that I purchased. So This Book Made Me Think of You. I've heard people have cried from it. Reading what it's about, I might cry from it. I'm not a huge crier, but not often for books. So we'll see if this gets me. So I think someone said this was like P.S. I Love You, but books. So there's 12 books, 12 months, one chance to heal her heart. I'm not going to, it's got a full summary here, but if I remember correctly, this is about a woman whose husband, who passed away 6 months ago, gave her a birthday gift that was from a local bookshop that like had it ready for her. And it was 12 books for her to read, 12 months that all reminded her husband of her. So that would put me in tears immediately if I were the main character. But seeing what books were picked out and why, that's going to be cute and interesting. And then I have this graphic novel. It is the second, it's volume 2 of Les Normaux by Janine Jansen. The first one is with one of my friends, so she's not a graphic novel reader. I told her to give it a shot because she is a queer romance reader. So we'll see what she thinks, but I have this one and I'm excited to get to it because I loved the first one. Boy moves to a new city, boy meets vampire, they kiss, then become friends, but both would like something more. The second installment is a global webtoon phenomenon. Enjoy queer slice of life romance set in a fantastical version of Paris. So that one I'll definitely get to. Since it's a graphic novel, it won't take me very long. So this and Anxietyland I for sure will get to. Just I like trying to do at least a couple graphic novels a month if I can, just because I have so many books and I want to get through them to see what I want to keep, and graphic novels are a good way to make more space if I'm not digging them. I expect to like volume 2 of Les Normaux though, because I loved the first one, but we'll see. And then last but not least is Eric LaRocca's Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke and Other Misfortunes. Interesting formatting. Like I said, I'm really into that. So we'll see. Not all of it is like that. Some of it looks normal. Looks like there's some emails, some messenger stuff. And then just, yeah, like regular formatting. I just know this is a horror. It says 3 devastatingly beautiful horror stories from one of the genre's most cutting-edge voices. So I have heard that it's pretty scary from the person that recommended it to me. Hopefully it's not too scary because I am a big baby. But it says a whirlpool of darkness churns at the heart of the macabre ballet between 2 lonely young women in an internet chat room in the early 2000s. A darkness that threatens to forever transform them once they finally succumb to their most horrific desires. So that's one of the stories. A couple isolate themselves on a remote island in an attempt to recover from their teenage son's death when a mysterious young man knocks on their door during a storm. And then a man confronts his neighbor when he discovers a strange object in his backyard, only to be drawn into an ever more dangerous game. So those sound interesting. Like I said, I'll definitely get to Anxietyland and Les Normaux because those will be quick reads. And We Used to Live Here I really want to get to for sure. And then we'll kind of see from there what we're into. I think I'll try to get to Cat Love. That's coming out soon. But yeah, so we'll see what I'm into. I think I'm going to start doing monthly wrap-ups or more vlogs. I started recording. The problem with vlogs for me is first off, I'm busy between full-time work and being a mom to a toddler. But with being a mood reader, sometimes I'll start a vlog and then I'll be a couple days in, I'm like, this book actually isn't hitting right. Sometimes it's a full DNF, but sometimes it's just like, I'll probably just like get back to this one. And then it's like, there's not much to talk about in the vlog. I don't know. So I'll figure it out what I end up wanting to do, whether that's vlogs, mini reviews, or, you know, year end, month end wrap up. So we'll see. And I will talk to you next time. If you've read any of these, what did you think? Is there one in here that you're like, you should really get to that? Or this one was not great? Even though you said that, I will probably still read it. I do believe, just because some people don't, well, even if people do, like, everyone has different opinions. But if there's a book that I'm looking forward to and someone says, oh, like that book sucked, I'll still probably give it a try and see what I think. So, yeah, I'll talk to you next time. Thanks for joining me. Like, comment, and subscribe if you dig it. Turn on the notification bell if you want to be notified. And that's it. Thanks for joining. Bye.